Hey guys, Alex with Bay Cities Construction here. Want to talk to you today about waterproofing your balcony. If you have a balcony and you haven't done any maintenance on it, it's probably a good time to start doing an inspection. If you've got a water leak with all the rain that we've been having, you definitely need to take a closer look at your balcony's surface. So let me show you what to look for. As you inspect the surface, you're looking for cracks, you're looking for tears, you're looking for any type of damage. Most commonly, the cracks are going to be in the corners where the deck meets a wall surface, or in this case, there's a handrail, and that's the only known holes into the waterproof membrane, right? The base plate there where the bolts are drilled into the waterproofing. If you see rust, if you see chipping, if you see any type of delamination in that section, the rust is an indicator that there's water being trapped there and it's literally rotting the metal. Other sections, you'll show spots where things puddle, like dark areas where you have a little bit of mold growth. You can just wash the deck surface with a little bit of detergent every few months. Just use like dish soap or something like that. Any of that type of maintenance every so often to keep the mold. If the mold grows on the dirt that sits on the deck, it'll start to compromise the wear layer. Also fading. This deck wear layer shows signs of fading. That means that the protective UV coat of the deck surface layer is deteriorated. Next would be a further deterioration of the waterproofing membrane that's below it. So this is a good time to inspect the deck and reapply a fresh coat of top coat that is actually pretty cool because you can pick the color for it. It's also very important that the waterproofing flashing underneath the door is in good shape. Most of the leaks that happen are because the waterproofing membrane has broken and there's poor or improper installed flashing. So when we removed this door, we installed a new flashing pan underneath this door to ensure that it's going to be waterproof. So as you do your inspections, you would inspect along the wall, under the door, and along the entire wall and the deck surface, and you're looking for cracks. Anytime you see a crack, it's not good enough to just put some caulking on it. That's got to be basically peeled back, reinstall flashing, and then re-waterproof the entire surface. When you're inspecting the deck, you also want to check for slope. You have to have a 2% slope on a deck, which means that from the part closest to the door to the part where the water runs off the deck, you basically want a 1/4 inch slope per foot. Proper sloping is really important because it keeps the water from coming back into the building, but also it keeps the balcony surface from puddling water, which is really bad for the top coat of any deck system. You'll see that there's dirt that is captured in like circular spots, or if it slopes against a wall that it gets trapped. These are all not ideal conditions for the slope. We can actually re-slope it when we put in a new membrane. We can actually re-slope it first, then put the waterproofing membrane on top. And then if the customer wants, we can have a gutter company come in and put some gutters in. So these are the components for making sure that the balcony is properly built and sloped, and it'll last you a lifetime. Guys, this is a deck in the same location. It's another deck. It's the balcony for the bedroom. And this balcony is in much worse shape. And I want to share with you some things to look for in your balcony when you're doing your inspection. So let's start with the back edge of the balcony. You'll see that there's pieces of stucco that are sticking out. This is a big no-no. This prevents the water from running off cleanly, and it may allow water to be trapped in there. So the edges have to be clean and smoothed out. You'll also see that there's some spider cracking in several of the sections here. There's deflection, meaning that the subfloor is flexible and it's allowing the cracking to happen. There may be some puddling, the darker spots in there. You know, we've scraped this deck off a little bit, but there was definitely a lot of mold growing on it. It has to do with the fact that it needs to be re-sloped a little bit. There's some cracks that are going right along the flashing here. That is an issue also. These things need to be dealt with. So it has to be opened up, has to be re-sloped, so you have a 1/4 inch per foot drop away from the building. And obviously you're gonna have to have flashing on all of it, so that's correctly done. You'll notice that there's flaking from the gray to the what looks like a concrete mortar bed. That basically is the top wear layer. That is what protected the waterproofing membrane. It's the last coat you put on the system. So all of this stuff has to be scraped off and primered and then reapplied. There's a few different systems that are made to go over this, but the surface has to be properly prepped. In our scenario here today, this is wet, so we would have to allow quite a bit of time to transpire so that it dries out. If your balcony is exhibiting any of these signs, you may have some leaks, you may have some deferred maintenance, but it's probably a good time to call somebody who's certified to install these waterproofing systems to come and take a look at it. Hope you enjoyed our little quick tour of how to properly inspect your deck. If you want to learn more about waterproofing decks or balconies, please go to baycitiesconstruction.com. We've got a few blog articles there. And remember, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros.